And we're live. So this guy's asking me, but he wants your opinions too, I suppose.
Nice.
I work in a hemp farm as a grower in Roxborough, North Carolina, and I was wondering your opinion of hemp. Hemp is cannabis, but with not much THC, can't get you high. I know you live in North Carolina, and so do I, and I was wondering what your opinion on the plant itself is, and if you see the market for it going up or falling. I'm like the worst guy to ask about this. I don't know the first thing about hemp, but I know that it's legal in other countries. And they don't like make all their clothes out of hemp, and they don't make all their ropes out of it. Like, it's not a miracle plant in places where it could be. So I don't know why it would be here. Do you guys know anything about hemp?
I mean, I know it's so hard because, like, you know that it's a useful plant. Like, it is useful. People use it for things. But then it's the same way with marijuana, where if the pro-pot legalizing people were just like, hey, this really is not nearly as harmful as alcohol. It's pretty safe. You know, people don't do many dumb things on marijuana. It's ridiculous for it to be illegal. It'd be like, yeah, 100%, totally agree. But like when they take it really far and they're like, actually, it's like a miracle cure for this, a miracle cure for that. It does things that we can't figure out here. Right? And it's like, well, I mean, okay, maybe some of that's true, but let's keep it realistic, because you're just giving opponents to your point of view footholds when you say things like that, where they can be like, actually, you've been promised, some fucking cunt in the opium industry, in the pills industry. And if you don't think that's the reason that marijuana is still illegal, then I got a bridge to sell you, because that's exactly why it's still illegal, because that's going to dip hard into pill sales when they legalize it, because you'll be able to get much better, much safer, much less addiction, propensity when you can just smoke weed or take a pill or some shit, as opposed to these really dangerous pills. And so they don't want it legal. They absolutely don't. That's the big pushback, is big pharma. But as far as hemp goes,
what's your source on
who fucking cares?
Because the big pharma has some pot-related patents too, where they stand to make a lot of money.
They do, but they don't selectively own those patents the way they do on things like Vicodin or OxyContin. And what they'll do is they'll, like the same way it worked for EpiPens, is they'll have contracts with the government to say, all right, the only pill of this style that you can use in the U.S. is fucking Percocet. And so I'm sorry. Oh, there's a way cheaper one made in Canada? Sorry, we have a contract with the government that's not available here. You have to pay a higher price for our pill. And so like that artificially raises our medical costs greatly. Like medical marijuana gets more people off of pills. Like it's shown that I'll have to like take some time and pull it up. But people who were previously on pills and like had problems with it, when they come back and like for pain relief or something use marijuana or THC, they don't get addicted. They still get the pain relief, or almost as much as you would. You know, it's not nearly as powerful.
I feel like they don't solve the same problems, right? Like marijuana and opioids, right?
They both deal with pain relief.
I'm out of my depth. That's the problem. Like I'm not prepared to talk about pot. I just thought pot was an anti-inflammatory and it gets you high.
I could be so wrong. Like I'm saying what I've heard from a friend of mine who's really into pot and all the legality of it and everything. And he's a big pothead, and he's still of the opinion of like, we really need to, on the pro pot thing, make sure that we stop overextending our hand. And I'm like, oh, that actually kind of makes some sense. So who knows? There's probably some potheads in our audience who are like, Taylor, you're a total idiot and you're wrong. And you might be right, guys.
I feel like hemp has done that to some extent. Now I know hemp is not pot, but they've kind of been like, man, if hemp was legal, we'd all be wearing really scratchy shirts. It's like
it's almost like this hemp plant, it does a lot of things way better than we could have done with raw materials 400 years ago. But we've kind of figured that out. We got over the mixing fabrics, and now like polyester and cotton is a little better than hemp.
Wasn't the Constitution? Isn't the Constitution written on hemp paper?
No, it's written on just a bunch of joints taped together. It's straight up pot. It's a bunch of doobies and blunts. Dude, Washington, you don't know this? He smoked up to 10 grams of marijuana a day.
It was not written on hemp paper.
But the other things I said weren't true either, so it even sounds...
It was written on parchment, which is treated animal skin, typically sheepskin. So
yeah. It's an urban legend, I guess.
I remember I had a friend in high school who would make a to-do, like when we were out at parties or something, and he was like, I'm going to smoke some weed. You want some? It's like, nah, you do you. And he would like take out a Bible and like rip a page out and like roll joints on Bible paper. And I would be like,
Old Testament or New?
old.
Oh, okay.
Well, both. Mix of both.
No!
He smoked what he was feeling. And like he would do that. And part of me is like, number one, there's ink on those pages. That can't be good for you. Number two, I'm not religious, but if there is a God,
No,
like
aren't
you're
rolling
going down
papers
a new
special
path.
in the way they respond to like you lick them and they stick or something? Like I've never.
It was just because so the rolling papers they use for marijuana is the same as the papers they use to make cigarettes. It's just like thin rolling paper. Like Europeans roll their own cigarettes. That's a thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they roll their own cigarettes. So they've always got papers on them.
Well, they've got gum on them that there's a strip of sticky shit, on rolling papers.
I was gonna say like
a stamp.
I've never rolled a joint before, but I would guess rolling papers are the ideal thing to roll it from. If I were just
I'm
take
sure
a
there
page
are.
from a book, like how would that work? Why
Well,
would it
he
even
was
stay
an
together?
edgy,
Well,
an
if you lick
edgy
it, it'll stick.
16-year-old, and the reason it worked is because Bible pages are so thin. Like they're almost translucent. They're so thin, and so
Okay.
that worked. I know it works because I watched him smoke joints. Man,
I like
the
to
Bible.
think it was gilded and slightly poisonous.
Yeah, it was just
I've heard-
He's like, man, I just love that fake rose gold hit in the back of my throat.
I've heard Snoop Dogg talk about like that's one of his biggest regrets is at some point like he didn't have any rolling papers and he used pages from a Bible and he's like, I feel bad about that still. That was fucked up. That is fucked up. Jesus.
Yeah, I'm not religious at all, and it still seems disrespectful. Part of me is like, it's just a book, but then I like if you use the Quran or the Torah, I think it's called the Torah, I wouldn't feel good about that either. Come on, man.
The book of lies it is.
There's a lot of paper around. Can't you
There's
just
plenty of
strong
paper.
arm robbery some swishers and get the tobacco out?
At least
Yeah.
do it with like the Book of Mormon, or
wish
even
I-
if a Mormon saw you, it's like, hey, buddy, I don't care for this, but you do you. I love you. I care about you. I care about your family. I'll do whatever's needed, and I made a casserole for you. Like
Joseph
that's what a
Smith is-
Mormon would do.
Joseph Smith will strike you dead. Okay.
That's a yeah.
A
I
lot
bet.
of them laugh.
Did we answer the one about making 420 a smoking episode?
Yeah, that doesn't work for any of us.
Yeah, we don't live in legal states. So in the same way that it would never be a good idea to like commit ourselves doing Grand Theft Auto, it like what you're asking for is a bad idea.
If it ever is legal in all of our states, at the same time, we'll discuss a 420 episode.
I have the additional thing, like, so my daughter's not allowed to smoke pot. That's a thing. It's especially important to Jackie, and I would prefer that she save that until she was over 25 or something. I don't know. I don't want her doing it. And if I were to do it, that would be pretty hypocritical.
Mhm. If it was legal though, you could always be like, still no, because I think what's the age for legal? It's 21, right? Same as alcohol.
Typically,
it's not 18.
I think you're right
Yeah.
at 21.
Yeah, it's 21, and she's not even close to 21. I don't think. Like, so she'd
She's
still
19.
be good.
Yeah.
19. Oh, she's getting close, I guess. Yeah, and it's definitely not going to be legal in all of our states in the next 2 years. Do you guys have anything on your ballot for marijuana this year? Because we have 3 different things about marijuana on our ballot.
And they're not expected to win, though?
No, they kind of are. Like, I thought about it and talked to my grandparents who are like rural Southern Missouri voters. And if I had to ask them, 8-9 years ago, like, how do you feel about marijuana? They'd be like, hell no. I don't want people smoking, driving, being retards all over the place, like whatever they would say.
Mm-hmm.
Like now that the opium crisis has gotten so real in rural areas, like I brought it up, I think like last year or something like that, where I'm like, yeah, we should just legalize it now, start making some money off of this, like the way Colorado is. And they're like, yeah, I totally agree. People are talking about marijuana, sessions talking about marijuana, like people in rural areas aren't dealing with overdoses from opium all day, every day. Like, how about we pay a little attention to this, to this huge opium problem? Like, that's the rural thought process for those old people now. They don't give a fuck about weed. Like, they want this opium problem handled. So I think it's going to pass. The first one is like, I think it's like, it's not for legalization. It's for medical use. The first one's like, oh, you can use it medically, but there's a 2% tax, and it goes to the troops, like veterans who get back and need help. There's another one that's a 4% tax for the veterans, exact same thing. And there's one that's a 15% tax to give to some like government like
What if
think
they all
tank.
pass? Does it just roll in at 18%?
Yeah, that would suck. But like what I think is going to happen is
right?
that like it's a conservative enough state that I think most people are going to vote for the 4% one because they'll want to give the most to the veterans who get back. But people in Missouri are not going to like the idea of giving it to some random think tank at 15%. So I think it's going to pass here. Like all the even older conservatives I talk to are on board with it.
Yeah, I think we've already got medical here, but it's there's no way to acquire it.
What's that mean?
Like there's no way, like even if you qualify for it, where do you get it legally? That's the situation.
Oh, so it's almost like it's just lip service legal.
Sort of, yeah. Like the first step is done, but they'll have to figure out a way to facilitate the supply to those medical patients, which has not been done.
It's showing there are 30 states. I wish there was a fucking date on this article. Oh no, August 20th, 2018. So this is current. There are 30 states where marijuana is legal for medicinal purposes. It's legalized, like good to go in Oregon, Washington, Nevada, California, Alaska, Colorado, Vermont, Massachusetts, and Maine, and DC. It's medical and decriminalized in Minnesota, Illinois, Ohio, New York, Maryland, and Delaware, and Rhode Island. It's medical in Montana, North Dakota, New Mexico, Arizona, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Florida, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and it's fully illegal where both of you are. Or no, it's decriminalized where you and I are, Woody. So it's not like fully illegal, but it's fully illegal in Georgia, Kyle. So good to know.
It's also I think it's decriminalized in the city of Metro Atlanta. But if you get picked up in Metro Atlanta by like the wrong cop, then that's no good. You need to get caught by an Atlanta Police Department officer to get you.
You don't want one of those state law cops.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Man,
North Carolina
none
has,
of these states had labels on them, and I knew fucking all of them. So third grade, Miss Stevenson, hell yeah, you taught me the states pretty good.
North
Let me,
Carolina. Oh, good.